Hi guys, hi Alejandra, hi Miguel in my CAE class on a Monday and Wednesday morning. Now, welcome to your what will be your final lesson for this term. Now, as it says on my timetable, I am focusing more on the different parts of the exam. In today's video, I'm going to talk through to you about the writing, the listening, and the speaking. Okay, so I'm going to talk about it more generally, and then tomorrow when we have our Skype lesson, I'll be talking about this with you in more detail, along with the other activities. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for handling your work so promptly. I am working through getting it marked, and I'm going as fast as I can. So please bear with me and please be patient with me until I get that done. I'm aiming for Friday to have everything handed back and to tell you how you are doing at this stage. Okay, so I'm going to go through first with the writing exam. Now, as similar to first certificate, you do know that the writing exam consists of two parts. Now, the difference is in first certificate, you had an hour and 20 minutes. In CAE, in advanced, you have 1 hour and 30 minutes. Now, part one and part two both have the same word count. So you have 220 to 260 words per question. Okay, so you need to make sure that you keep within the limits. Part one's an essay. You'll be given an essay of a discussion, and you have to look at the ideas, what you agree with, and you have to talk about those ideas in more detail. You need to be careful. You need to follow the prompts of the question accordingly. If you do not follow them, you are going to cause yourself a lot of problems. And make sure you keep to the point. Now remember, essays are formal based, so you need to try and remember no contractions in formal writing. It needs to be very formal, very precise, and very much to the point. Now, enough about that. Now, when we move on to part two, when you're doing your part two involves possibly three writings in which you choose one. So you choose one writing. So you can choose from a range of different writings like a review, article, report, proposal, a letter of application. There are a lot of different writings to choose from. My recommendation is choose the writing that you feel, depending on the day, that you are most comfortable with. Do not choose a writing wittingly. Look at the three writings, look at the context of what the examiner is looking for. Go for the question you feel you can answer best. Between the two questions, you have roughly about 45 minutes each. So you have, what I would say is you have 5 minutes to read through the question, plan your answer quickly, 5 minutes for checking at the end. So realistically, you have about 35 minutes to actually write your answer. So use your time effectively. Okay, that's one part of the exam. Now let's talk about paper 3, which is your listening. So in paper 3, which is your listening exam, you have 4 parts. Okay, so there's 4 parts. Part 1, you have 3 extracts, which is three different conversations, but there's 2 questions per each. It's multiple choice. You need to listen carefully. You only have 2 opportunities. Underline keywords to the question and in the response and in the options to see which one links best. Part 2, very similar to Cambridge First Part 2, is the long listening in which you have to fill in the gaps. You have to fill in the gaps. It could be a word, a number. It could be, but it's something that links to the text. Remember that the listening goes in order of what comes up in that paper. Okay, so just be very, very aware of that. Part 3 is another listening of short conversations, but it's multiple choice this time. So it's multiple choice, and you have different listenings, and you have 6 questions to answer A, B, C, or D. Okay, so simply you choose the correct answer accordingly. And then finally, part 4. Now, part 4 is the one I'm going to highlight the most here because this is not just in one task, there's 2 tasks. You have short listings of 5 speakers. You have to match the speaker in each task to the relevant statement. Be very, very careful here because if you do not, you only have 2 opportunities to listen. Realistically, you have 1 listen per task. So you need to really, really focus on what the speakers are talking about or what they're referring to. This part also carries a third of your listening mark, so you need to be very, very careful when you're picking your statements. If there's one you're not sure of, do leave it, but do never ever leave an answer blank. Take a guess. You might get a point. Okay, so that is the listening side of things. Now on to the speaking. Now the speaking is very much similar to that at first, but there are slight differences. In part 1, very much the same, getting to know you, asking very specific questions. What I would expect in a C1 exam is that I'm expecting a higher degree of sophistication, and I'm expecting much more fluid nuances in your speaking. I'm not expecting typical responses. I'm expecting more elaborate and more concrete responses, and also that you're able to answer any question practically with ease, okay, without any severe difficulty. In part 2, when it's your individual long turn, you will have 1 minute and 3 photos in which you choose 2 and a question to answer in that minute. It's very similar to that of the first certificate exam, where you have 2 photos to compare. You have 3 photos, but you have to choose 2 to compare. 60 seconds doesn't seem like a long time, but you need to make sure you use every second wisely, okay? Use every second wisely. If you are going to pause, remember, a full stop is like a breath. Catch your breath. Don't go da 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 da, because eventually you'll burn out and you're going to waste time. You need to be very careful with this and use this to your advantage. And just remember that your partner will also have to answer a 30-second question in regards to your photos, and when you switch, it's the same. Okay, in part 3, when you go into the collaborative task, which is the collaboration task, you will have to work together. You will have a diagram of 5 points and a question, and you have spent 2 minutes discussing the 5 points. Give yourselves a chance to speak and try and quickly go through the 5 points, okay? After 2 minutes, the examiner will stop you, and then you have a further 1 minute to decide which is the best choice. Now remember, this is an obvious question. A lot of people would say, oh, do we have to agree? Do we have to disagree? The answer is simple, no. If you don't agree, you don't agree. It's as simple as that. You can have differences of opinion, and that is not going to go against you in the examination. Which leads to part 4, which is your conversation phase, in which you will have questions in relation to your preview in part 3. Okay? And there's very specific task-specific questions. They'll ask you individual questions, but do try and invite your partner to speak, like saying, what do you think? And you, and then because the examiner is there to facilitate, but also to listen as to how well you are answering and responding to the questions. Okay? If you have any information or any questions to ask, please do not hesitate to contact me. There will be an exam paper sent to you very, very shortly, okay? So don't panic. You will have them by the end of this week. You will have them, all right, for you to complete over the Easter holidays, okay? Once again, I want to say thank you very much for all your help and for all your hard work this term. And any questions, do not hesitate to contact me, okay? Very best wishes, and I wish you both a very happy Easter holiday, okay? Speak to you soon. Bye.